when we're talking about computer maintenance, you have to be able to identify the issues that could be presenting itself. There is hardware that requires a minimum amount of maintenance. Your desktop unit will require a little more than your laptop as a rule, just because it tends to have bigger fans in it and collects more dust and dirt inside the component box, inside the CPU box, people like to call it. We'll look briefly at how to upgrade and replace hardware components, perform basic maintenance, and request specialized maintenance. So any computer, there's just a little bit of maintenance you got to do to it. You know, managing the cables, keeping those neat. But probably the picture you see here, if you have a desktop unit at home, ends up looking like that. With a bunch of wires going every which way. And it's not too bad, but it can be a problem if you got it right underneath your feet. So you do want to invest in some kind of cable ties, or your little twist ties off of your bread. Those work pretty good. Twist a couple of them together if you need to. But try to keep it organized so that it's safe for you. And also, when you got to plug in or unplug something, it's a little less nerve-wracking. So a little care at the beginning helps. Taking a keyboard, turning it upside down, and tapping it on the desktop to get all the, let's say, stuff that comes off of you or whoever the users are, that falls down in the keyboard, various items, hair and other things we won't mention that can fall in there, food items or whatever, and they can collect enough that it can cause keyboard key depressing problems, you know, not functioning good. And then after you do that, tap it upside down, get all that junk out of there, then take a compressed air and spray it off. Don't get those cleaners with, you know, electronic cleaners and spray it up in there, okay? That's not a good idea. Of course, with inkjet, really, I've not had any luck using any of these kits myself. Maybe you have, but if the printer's not working right, you just got to keep doing the head cleaning operation with the printer, and hopefully it will rectify and clean the inkjet head, the print head. But working through this, using the printer cleaning kit, you can try it. You might be more successful using it. It's usually just a really big mess, and doesn't really clean it off totally. You end up running the computer or the printer maintenance operation over and over anyway. Laser printers, those things, you got a big canister with toner in it. You'll need to keep some clean cloths available when you're changing out the toner cartridge. When you do change out the cartridge, you want to keep some of that compressed air handy and spray it out and get the paper dust out of it. Those little rubber wheels, they'll get clogged with paper dust, and it won't pick up the paper, and you'll think, well, this printer's not working anymore, it's no good, I have to get another one. Probably not. Probably just need to clean those rollers really good and see if you can get some more life out of it. Computer memory, you know, really there's no maintenance to be done on that, but once they're installed, they're in there. You know, they don't collect dirt unless you're in a real dirty environment. They might need to be sprayed out. I'm getting way far away from my microphone. So inside of the computer, it's like a big clamshell on this one. you would find the chips like you see in the picture on a circuit board, and you can spray them out. Changing them out in your laptop, there's really no cleaning involved with a laptop and your RAM. Your circuit board usually stays pretty clean in there. So you would need to find the RAM slots. They'll look like this, RAM chips. It's pretty standard. It looks like that. If you want to change them out, you would first go to a website called Crucial, is one of them, crucial.com. You put in all of your computer information in there, and it tells you what type of RAM your computer will hold and how many chips or strips of RAM to buy and what type. The older the computer, a lot of times the higher the cost of the RAM, and the newer the computer. So somewhere in the middle, there's usually more RAM available and less expensive than upgrading your computer after you buy it. So when you buy a laptop computer, buy as much RAM as you can afford. Whatever the maximum is on the laptop, try to figure out a way to go ahead and max it out. You're going to need it eventually. All the operating systems or application programs use more and more RAM. That's what I've seen over the years. So be prepared for that. But usually they're about $50, $60 a strip, something like that. They can be higher on certain types. Talked about keyboards, mice. You know, there's gobs of different styles of mice. You just pick one that looks like it would work for you. This is a pretty wild one here, ergonomically designed, match your hand. Depends on your size of your hand, though, you know. So most of the pointing devices don't require very much maintenance. These in here, your standard mouse, you're going to have to clean the feet of the mouse. And I have some Clorox wipes in the room somewhere. A canister is placed in here somewhere. It's got a bunch of Clorox wipes, and you can clean the mouse occasionally. You do want to, in here, we're pretty fortunate. You all are the only class that meets in here regularly. So someone could use your computer, your workstation, when you're not in here. So it's a good idea to clean your mouse and your keyboard before you turn it on with one of those Clorox wipes, just to keep the flu bug and stuff down, you know, and picking up germs. Your hard disk, this is a logical picture, a map, if you will, of what a disk looks like if we were to be able to see what the data, how the data is stored. So it's stored in sectors, little pieces. It's kind of like divided up into a pie shape, and then the little sectors, which is the pie shape, is broken up into little sectors, and in there, the way the hard drive stores information, it doesn't like keep it in a, you know, end-to-end nice little block of area, at least after a little bit of use. You know, as you start to delete stuff and erase data that you don't need, that creates holes. The computer, to conserve space, it will actually throw data into those gaps, and it'll actually record a start and an end marker to each piece of data segment. So your data, this could be one file. This blue right here could be one large drawing file, let's say, and it could be all over the place, all over the disk. That's the way the hard drive tries to maintain and keep using space and not take up new locations. When something new is stored, brand new, it'll pick out the last available segments and store them all there together, and it'll be nice and contiguous. Okay? But a lot of times it will try to find holes and gaps and fill those in first. I don't really know its exact logic it's using, but it does that. So you end up with fragmented files, and your little hard drive head that's reading those data bits that make up the file information, it has to, the disk is spinning at like it's 1725 or 7,256 revolutions a minute or something ridiculous. I mean, it's screaming in there. So it's spinning, and then that little head is moving back and forth and locates where your data is stored and spits it back out to your screen. It's incredible what it's doing at a high speed, nanoseconds. So it can start to degrade. Let's say your computer is about 4 or 5 years old. You've never done a defragmentation, and you use a lot of music and video and stuff like that. You could start to see a slowdown. So a lot of times a disk defragmentation program, run it, that comes with the operating system, it will put things back together so they're all in a neat package. It takes it sometimes an hour, if it's really fragmented, to put it all back together. Whoop. Okay. Another maintenance area is your recycle bin. As you delete stuff, there is a recycle bin you think you've deleted it, but you really haven't deleted it. It's up there in the recycle bin in the trash can, and it's just waiting there for you to empty the trash can, just like the garbage in your house. Okay? You've thrown away all those old flyers and stuff that comes in the mail or whatever, and maybe a bill gets thrown in there accidentally. So you got to go get it, and it's still in the trash can. So that's the way it is on the computer. So occasionally you've got to run a delete or empty the trash on the recycle bin. Temporary files that you'll see listed when you do a clean on your computer. And let me show you what that is. Okay. It'll be under all programs of your application, your main application button for Windows, your start button, and you go to accessories, system tools, and disk cleanup. And it'll ask if you want to clean up the drive and which ones, in case you got more than one. It'll calculate how much space you will be able to free, and it does take it a few minutes to do. It checks all these different areas, temporary files and cookies and temporary internet files, recycle bin, and old downloads, from programs you've downloaded. All kinds of those areas are analyzed. Now I'll just let that run, and we'll keep moving. So things that should be performed by a professional, somebody that has experience, and you would pay for them to do this, doesn't mean you can't attempt to do it. All of you are kind of technician kind of folks, perhaps, most of you. You can replace the power supply or opening the power supply case. I don't recommend that at all, ever. And I mean, really, just an electronics technician would want to do that. And if the thing is not working, It's usually nothing in there that a technician can repair at the bench unless it's like a fuse or something. This is what comes up on your disk cleanup. All these different areas, downloaded program files, internet, temporary internet files, offline web pages. It doesn't automatically check that for removal. Okay, so it depends on if you have some web pages that you view offline. You have to decide. It's not a whole lot of space. 43 megabytes. That used to be the size of our hard drives back in the day. So if I saw something like that, I would croak, because it'd be taking all the hard disk space just about. Recycle bin. Gosh, I need to empty mine, don't I? 491 megabytes. I'm getting about a half of a gig. That's a lot of stuff. I could free up quite a bit of space, almost half a gig of space. Now, temporary files. Your temporary files, it's a good idea to clean those out. That just takes up room. It's stuff that loads from browsing or from running application programs, particularly AutoCAD. It will leave temporary files so that you can go back and open up an existing drawing or recover a drawing. So I haven't done it in a long time. Almost 4 gigabytes of temporary files. And, that can be causing fragmentation quite a bit, having that out there. Okay, so you can choose all of it and clean up the system files and everything, and that should improve your speed. So electrical components, replacing the processor is a little tricky, especially some of the newer ones. Man, they've got so many little pins on the bottom of them, and you get one of those bent, you straighten it back up, you run the chance of actually breaking it off, and then there goes your half the cost of your computer is your little processor if you have to replace it. So anyway, adding a hard disk to a desktop, you can do that yourself. It doesn't take much. You can find YouTube videos, instructional videos about how to do that. It's not hard to do. Okay, there's risk involved, hooking it up wrong, not doing the correct settings on it. But normally, anybody that sells hard disk, they're going to provide instructions for how to do it. Now, replacing or adding additional RAM, it says only by a professional. Well, you can do that too. Open it up. It's a simple process of unsnapping the locks on it and tilting it out, putting the new one in, pushing it back in, reverse operation. It's not hard to do. Okay? But, if you're not good with your hands, you're afraid of electrical stuff, then don't do it. You find somebody that can do it for you. Okay. I'm going to save that so it'll be a little